The dark origins of vampires. Vampire myths have captivated humanity for centuries. But did you know that some ancient civilizations believed in creatures that predate modern vampire lore? These early tales set the stage for the terrifying legends that would come to haunt our collective imagination. In ancient civilizations, vampire-like beings were common in folklore. These early myths featured creatures that drank blood or consumed flesh to sustain themselves. Such stories from various cultures laid the groundwork for the vampire legends that would later emerge. Mesopotamian myths introduce us to the Akimu, one of the earliest vampire legends. These restless spirits were believed to feed on the life force of the living. Such tales were among the first to depict the vampire's insatiable hunger. Greek and Roman lore also contributed to vampire mythology. The Empusa, a fearsome creature from Greek mythology, was known to shapeshift and seduce its victims before drinking their blood. These stories added new dimensions to the evolving vampire mythos. During the medieval period, the vampire myth evolved significantly. European folklore transformed these creatures into the undead beings we recognize today. Fear of the unknown and rampant superstition fueled the spread of vampire stories across the continent. The vampire holds a significant place in Slavic folklore, often depicted as a reanimated corpse that preys on the living. These creatures were believed to arise from improper burials or evil deeds, and communities developed specific rituals to prevent their return. In Europe, the connection between plagues and vampire legends emerged as people sought explanations for widespread death. Corpses found with blood at their mouths led to suspicions of vampirism, fueling fear and the practice of staking bodies to prevent their rise. Notable vampire trials and executions occurred in history, reflecting societal panic. In 18th century Eastern Europe, suspected vampires were often exhumed and brutally executed. These trials exemplified the deep-seated fear and superstition surrounding the vampire myth. Early literature began to shape the vampire myth with works like John Polidori's The Vampire. This story introduced the vampire as a sophisticated, aristocratic figure, differing from earlier, more monstrous depictions, and laying the groundwork for future literary portrayals. Bram Stoker's Dracula profoundly impacted vampire mythology, establishing many characteristics we associate with vampires today. Stoker's novel brought the vampire into modern fiction, influencing countless adaptations and solidifying Dracula as an iconic figure in popular culture. Bram Stoker's Dracula revolutionized vampire mythology, introducing Count Dracula as the archetypal modern vampire. This novel's blend of Gothic horror and Victorian anxieties captivated readers, cementing vampires as enduring symbols of fear and fascination in popular culture. The 20th century saw vampires depicted in various media, from Bela Lugosi's iconic portrayal in Dracula, 1931, to Anne Rice's The Vampire Chronicles. These iterations explored vampires' complex personalities, further embedding them in the fabric of horror storytelling. Modern vampires have evolved, becoming more than mere monsters. In 21st century books and films like Twilight and The Vampire Diaries, they embody themes of love, redemption, and conflict, reflecting societal changes and expanding the mythos for new generations. Vampire hunters, such as Abraham Van Helsing in Dracula, became crucial to the lore. These characters, often depicted as brave and resourceful, added layers of conflict and adventure, making the battle against vampires a compelling narrative element. Historical figures believed to be vampires, like Vlad the Impaler, fueled the myth's persistence. Their brutal actions and mysterious deaths led to tales of the undead, blurring the line between history and legend and keeping the vampire narrative alive. Scientific theories suggest vampire myths may stem from misunderstood diseases like porphyria, which causes sensitivity to sunlight and disfiguring symptoms. Rabies, too, influences behavior and fear of water, contributing to the vampire legend's persistence through the ages. Vampires have deeply influenced global cultures, from Romania's Dracula tours to Japan's anime. These myths permeate various forms of media, shaping cultural narratives and reflecting societal fears, desires, and the complexities of human nature. Vampire symbolism often explores themes of immortality, forbidden desire, and the struggle between good and evil. These myths serve as metaphors for human experiences, reflecting our deepest fears and fascinations with life, death, and the unknown. Modern-day vampire subcultures embrace the myth's allure, with communities forming around shared interests in the supernatural. These groups often celebrate their identities through fashion, literature, and events, creating a unique, supportive environment for like-minded individuals. Famous vampire characters like Count Dracula, Lestat, and Edward Cullen dominate pop culture. Their stories captivate audiences, inspiring countless adaptations in movies, TV shows, and games, ensuring the vampire myth remains a versatile and enduring element in entertainment. Vampires and werewolves both captivate the imagination but differ in intriguing ways. Vampires known for their eternal life and bloodlust contrast sharply with werewolves, whose transformations are tied to the moon. This duality enriches their mythological allure. The enduring fascination with vampires continues to thrive in modern culture. Their complex symbolism and timeless mystique invite endless exploration. Share your favorite vampire stories and join the conversation, celebrating these enigmatic creatures that captivate our imaginations across generations.